I have recently explained to my friend why I am a single mom to my now 9-year-old. To give as much context, I'll start from the beginning. I was an only child to a single mom. We moved to London when I was in year 11, so I hardly made any friends and was quite shy. I made some in college, and through one of them, I met my ex-fiancé, Harry. He was the total opposite of me. Extroverted, confident, and good-looking. He said he liked my accent and kept encouraging me to talk. A few weeks later, we started dating. Anyways, fast forward to when I was 22 and he was 23, we are engaged and I found out I'm pregnant. I tell him and he's happy even though it's unplanned, he's really happy about it. But we know nothing about raising babies since I was an only child and he was the youngest of 2. I was shy of going to a parenting class, so we just got tips from YouTube. One night we came across a breastfeeding channel and he was really interested and adamant he'd want our baby to be breastfed. I didn't mind either way. The more videos he watched, the more he wanted the baby to be a girl because he said it would be weird if I breastfed a boy. I thought it was a weird comment, but I brushed it off. A few months later, our daughter Holly is born. A little complications as she was early and had some problems latching on. I bottle-fed her for the first few weeks after nursing her because she wasn't getting enough from my breasts alone. Harry was really supportive. He would feed me a lot and give me water to help produce more milk. He would be watching breastfeeding videos late at night to try and get more information for me. He would hold the baby to my breast and squeeze to try and feed her while I dozed off. I did notice every time he did that, he would go to the bathroom for a short time, like 2 minutes, and wash his hands. He did sometimes get milk on it because sometimes it would squirt in a different direction, but I didn't think he was disgusted by it because he would ask to try some. When we were intimate, I would leak milk from both breasts, which he loved. So, I thought it was weird he would be scrubbing the milk off his hands. I finally asked him why he always washed his hands every time he helped to breastfeed, but he just looked embarrassed. So I quickly laughed it off and changed the subject to not make things worse. That same night we were both in bed, he texted me, "Hey." I thought he was just being silly as he was right next to me, so I humored him and texted back, "What's up?" He replied, "I have a confession. Please don't judge me. It turns me on when you breastfeed Holly." I froze. My whole world came crashing down. It's one thing to have a fetish, but for your baby to be involved in that fetish is just sick. I couldn't see him the same way even if he was joking. I replied, "Okay." He then turned and asked if I'm okay. I just said yes. Then he turned over again and texted me if I can feed Holly again right now. I felt sick to my stomach. This is why he's been so supportive. I said no, because she was sleeping, and he left it at that. The following day he left for work in the morning as usual. I gave him a kiss and said I'll call him on his lunch break. We FaceTimed on his commute as usual, but as soon as he came off the phone, I started packing. Very light. Holly was only 6 months at the time, so I didn't have a passport for her, so I knew I couldn't leave the country yet, but I sure wasn't staying with him. I took all important documents, qualifications, baby book, clothes for a few days, and just left. I moved back to my home city, stayed with my grandmother for 2 months before I could rent a place for myself. I blocked Harry on everything. My Facebook is private and in a different name. He can't find me. I couldn't trust him around Holly. Fast forward to the present, my friend says I'm TAH and I overreacted. I cheated my daughter out of a great father because he didn't actually physically touch her. Did I overreact? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Don't listen to those who tell you that you did the wrong thing. You didn't. You protected your child, which is what a mother is supposed to do. I don't understand the "you're the a-hole" judgments. We realize that after his confession, "Can you breastfeed Holly right now?" means "Wake up Holly so I can watch my baby breastfeed while I get a hard-on, and then go jerk off in the washroom." How does anyone think that's okay, or even remotely innocent, or acceptable? You protected your child, OP, don't ever feel bad for that. Comment 2. That's too weird. Wake up the baby for his fetish. The baby has to be involved. He's not turned on unless the baby is involved. Sick shoot. You are not wrong for leaving. Maybe you should have explained why. I had a feeling this wasn't going to end very well when he kept watching the videos on breastfeeding. He wasn't helping you get information. He was feeding his fetish. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around for the update. So it's been a week since I told my friend about why I'm a single mom, and let me tell you, it's been pretty tough. I thought I had left all the drama behind, but it found me again, and it hit hard. I was at the park with Holly, just a normal day, when I saw him. Harry. My heart dropped. He was there, just a few feet away, and I could tell he was looking for someone. For us. I grabbed Holly and we left immediately. I didn't know how he found us, but I was scared. I thought I had covered my tracks, but I guess I was wrong. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept wondering if I was being paranoid or if he really was following us. The next day, I got my answer. There was a knock at the door, and it was the police. They had a court order. Harry had filed for custody. I couldn't believe it. The betrayal from Harry, thinking he could just waltz back into our lives and take Holly away from me, it was too much. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was finding out it was my friend who had told him where we were. She thought she was doing the right thing, that Holly deserved a father. I felt so betrayed. I trusted her with my deepest secret, and she stabbed me in the back. The custody battle was ugly. Harry had a lawyer, and he was good. He painted me as an unstable mother who had kidnapped his daughter. I fought back, told the court about the text, about his sick fetish. But without proof, it was just my word against his. And Harry, he was charming, knew exactly what to say. The court ate it up. In the end, the judge ruled in Harry's favor. I was granted visitation, but Holly would live with him. I was devastated. I had lost my daughter because I was trying to protect her. But then something unexpected happened. Harry's older brother, the one person I hadn't thought to fear, came forward. He had seen the text that night, had known about Harry's problem for years. He testified, and the case was reopened. This time, the court saw Harry for who he really was. They reversed the decision, and I got full custody of Holly. Harry was ordered to get help and would only be allowed supervised visitation once he was deemed safe. I was relieved, but the damage was done. My friendship was over, and the trust I had in people was shattered. But life goes on. Holly is safe, and that's all that matters. I've learned my lesson, though. From now on, I'm keeping my guard up. No more secrets, no more trusting the wrong people. It's just me and Holly against the world, and that's the way it's going to stay. Thanks for reading. My family and my husband's family milked me for $26,000, but when they spread lies about me, I took them all to court and watched them squirm as I won every penny back. Just to kick off here, I know that both sides of this are toxic. My husband and I have been together for 7 years, and both his family and my family are terrible with money management, and both ask me to borrow money frequently enough to piss me off. I have a significant amount of savings, and have had it long before I met my husband because being raised by my mother gave me money anxiety. I started saving at a very young age, 9-10 years old. My husband has very little savings. Our finances are separate. Now here's the issue. He thinks I'm being ignorant because I complain about people asking me for money. But if my mom asks me, I will 100% send it. I have started giving his family a very hard and firm no. My mother always pays me back, usually with interest. It might take her a week, it might take her a few months, but she always pays me back. My husband's family refuses to pay me back at all, even when they say they will. So I stopped loaning them money after they borrowed $8,000 from me 3 years ago, making the total loan amount reach $26,000 for these people. And when I asked when I would be seeing some of the money back, months after I loaned it to them, they said, "That wasn't a loan. You were helping out family. We can't pay you back." I didn't have anything in writing, so I pushed it off as a lesson learned but refused to give them any more money. I couldn't care less if they were facing homelessness or needed surgery. Not my problem, and they won't get another dime from me. I won't even get them holiday gifts. They've burnt their bridges with me, and frankly, it's made me hate them. Now, my husband is 100% on my side and doesn't want me giving his family anything. But I just told him that I loaned my mother $300, and now he's pissed because he wants me to help him purchase a birthday gift for his mother, and I said no. He asked why I would give away money, but I won't buy his mom a birthday gift. I told him plainly that my mom will pay me back and always does, whereas I've loaned his family $26,000 in 7 years and haven't seen a dime back. I'm not getting his mother a birthday gift, as I've given her enough. And frankly, she doesn't deserve it in my eyes. I told him he can get her whatever he wants. He has his own money and I'm not stopping him. He keeps trying to say that it's one and the same, and argued with me about it so fiercely that I told him he was fucking delusional. To think it's even remotely close to being the same case scenario. Now he's pissed, saying that I'm being childish for name-calling and for shutting his family out over money when my mom does the same shoot. Am I the idiot? ETA, I make less than him. I make less. I don't care if he feels emasculated having to ask me for money. I should be the one having to ask him for money considering the pay gap. No, I will not be giving him an allowance. He has a good job. His finances are not my problem. Hence why our finances are separate and will remain separate. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1, not the idiot. You can bet that if it was your mother instead of his who owed you $26,000, he would have an awful lot to say about that. No way. And the fact that he won't back you up and make his family pay you back is just incredible. I can't fathom that at all. Don't tell him about your finances anymore. Apparently, he can't be trusted to know the difference between the two situations. Comment 2, not the idiot. And a bit of advice when handling people who won't respect boundaries about money. Either cut them out or lie and say you don't have any money to spend. I had to do this to my mother. I wasn't willing to cut her out of my life, but I also wasn't willing to let her suck me dry. She will be under the impression that I am broke until the day one of us dies. Now, for the update. Thanks for all the comments on my last post. Things have only gotten messier since then. So after the whole argument about the birthday gift for his mom, my husband actually went behind my back and took money from our emergency fund. Yeah, the one we both agreed was off limits unless it was a real emergency. He bought this extravagant necklace for his mom, claiming it was from both of us. I was livid. I mean, how could he just disregard our agreement like that? And to top it off, he didn't even tell me until after he gave it to her. But wait, it gets worse. His mom, the one who's never paid me back a cent, had the nerve to call me and thank me for the generous gift. She went on and on about family and how we should all support each other. I couldn't even speak. I just hung up. I felt betrayed by my husband and mocked by his mother. Then out of nowhere, my mom calls me, crying. She's lost her job and she can't pay me back the $300 she owes me. I told her not to worry about it, that we'd figure it out. But inside, I was panicking. That money was supposed to go towards fixing the roof, which has been leaking for months now. And as if things couldn't get any more complicated, my husband's sister, who's always been kind of the black sheep of the family, shows up at our door. She's been kicked out of her place and needs somewhere to stay. My husband, without even asking me, tells her she can crash with us. Our small apartment is now even more crowded, and I'm just trying to keep it together. But here's the kicker. His sister overhears us arguing about the money he took from the emergency fund and decides to play mediator. She tells us that she knows someone who can fix our roof for cheap. Desperate for a solution, we agree. The guy comes over, takes a look, and gives us a quote that's too good to be true. We pay him up front because, well, we just want the roof fixed. A week goes by and the guy is nowhere to be found. Turns out he's a scam artist, and my husband's sister was in on it. They took our money and ran. I couldn't believe it. My own family member, someone I trusted, just conned us. Now we're out of money, the roof is still leaking, and my husband and I are barely speaking. He's ashamed of his family and himself for being so gullible. I'm just trying to figure out how to move forward from all this mess. To make matters worse, my husband's family is now spreading rumors about me, saying I'm the reason for all the family drama. They're painting me as the villain because I refuse to lend them more money. It's like they're trying to manipulate the situation to make themselves look better. I'm at my wit's end. I feel like I'm in some twisted soap opera where everyone's out to get me. I just wanted to help my family and my husband's, but it's all backfired. I'm trying to stay strong, but it's hard when it feels like the whole world is against you. Thanks for reading. My friend of over 30 years keeps embarrassing me in front of others, so I ban her from my parties and teach her a lesson about respect. I am 51 years old and have a friend, Danny, who is 49 years old. We have been friends since we met when I was 13 years old. Over the years, we drifted apart and then came back together several times. 10 years ago, we both settled down in our hometown. My kids were adults or almost adults, and she was pregnant with her son. I have been lucky in my career and purchased an older home with a massive lot. Most of the homes like this in my city are purchased by developers who knock them down and build multi-unit homes. My wife and I spent a lot of money renovating the house and yard so we could entertain. We have an outdoor kitchen and tiki bar. The reason this is relevant is not just me bragging. In our friend group, our home is the one best suited to large gatherings. We love having people over. We invite people over for any reason we can think of. We just had a Groundhog's Day party. The problem is that Danny loves bringing up the past. I will use only myself and one friend whose permission I have to share the story. I was an insecure and immature teen. I lied a lot to make myself feel better. Danny knew the truth, but she kept it to herself. She also worked at a nightclub where she made friends with a friend of mine independently. I did not even realize this until they met up at my home. Danny would bring up all the lies I used to tell 35 years ago. She also brought up how much of a man intimacy worker I was, and she did the same for our mutual friend in front of his wife. Our friend's wife has self-esteem issues, and having it announced in public how many hot young women her husband used to sleep with did not go over well. My friend basically said that if Danny was invited, then he would no longer come to our get-togethers. My wife and I both talked to her about not being so vocal about ancient history. She says that I have no right to police what she talks about when everyone else is sharing stories. She is absolutely correct. What we could do, though, is refrain from extending invitations to her when we are having large gatherings. We still invite her family over, and we socialize with them outside our home as well. She has seen several times now that we have had parties and not invited her. When we were out to dinner with her husband, she asked me why we were freezing her out. I repeated to her that she chooses very uncomfortable subjects when we are all talking. She said that is just who she is, and that I am a jerk for trying to control her by excluding her. I pointed out that we were literally out for dinner together for the second time that month, and that we had had them over to the house in February. I also pointed out that I knew things about her past that she would probably prefer be left in the past. She looked like a deer in headlights. She is very upset with me, but I think I am doing what is best for everyone. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. She knows she talks about her friend's vulnerable past faux pas. She knows they and others are offended. And yet she claims all rights. Not inviting her seems the least you would do. Maybe the deer in the headlights reaction will turn to deep self-reflection. Comment 2. No, but for real. You are not the idiot because, she is 49. She should really have more interesting stuff to talk about by now. She's just trying to ruin y'all's relationships or something. It doesn't make sense for someone to constantly talk about the past like that. Now for the update. Thanks for all the comments on my last post. They really helped me think things through. So here's what's been going down since then. Just when I thought things couldn't get more tense, they did. Danny's husband lost his job, and it hit them hard. They were struggling to make ends meet, and Danny was stressed out of her mind. I felt bad for her, I really did. But at the same time, I was dealing with my own mess. The company I worked for was facing a lawsuit that could potentially bankrupt us. If that happened, I'd be out of a job too. In the midst of all this, my wife and I decided to throw a charity event at our place to help a local family whose house had burned down. It was a big deal, and everyone in our circle was talking about it. I knew inviting Danny would be risky, but she was part of the community, and her family was in a rough spot. I figured maybe this was a chance for her to take her mind off things, and for us to mend fences. The night of the event, Danny showed up looking like she was ready for a fight. I could tell she was on edge, and I braced myself for whatever was coming. As the evening went on, she actually seemed to be enjoying herself, laughing and chatting with everyone. But then, out of nowhere, she brought up the time I almost got expelled for cheating on a test in high school, in front of everyone. The room went silent. I felt my face go hot with embarrassment and anger. I pulled Danny aside and asked her what the hell she was doing. She just shrugged and said, "It's a funny story, isn't it?" I couldn't believe it. After everything, she still didn't get it. I was about to lose it when my wife stepped in. She took Danny by the arm and led her away. I don't know what my wife said to her, but Danny left shortly after, and the party went on. We raised a good amount of money that night, and it felt like a win, but the tension with Danny was the elephant in the room. A few days later, Danny came over to apologize. She said she was ashamed of herself for ruining the event and that the stress of her situation had gotten to her. She admitted that she was jealous of what my wife and I had built, and that she sometimes used the past to bring me down a peg because it made her feel better about her own life. It was a lot to take in, but it was the most honest conversation we'd ever had. We talked for hours, and I told her about the lawsuit at work and how scared I was. She listened, and for the first time, I felt like she really heard me. We agreed to start fresh, to leave the past in the past, and to support each other through the tough times. In the end, the lawsuit against my company was settled out of court. It was a huge relief, and it meant I kept my job. Danny's husband found a new job too, and things started looking up for them. We went back to having our get-togethers, and Danny was more mindful about the stories she shared. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. The risk of inviting Danny to the charity event could have been the final straw, but instead, it turned into a turning point for our friendship. It's funny how life works out sometimes. Thanks for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day!